All right, got another quick take for you, and hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully it's something you can learn from. One of the points I heard recently was, why is the Bible any different from the Quran, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita, any of these other religious books? Obviously, to go through a systematic rebuttal of all of them would be way more than I can hold my arm out for as I record this video. But let me give you a summary of it. In the Torah, the Torah is the Jewish Old Testament. It's a bit of religious literature of the basically Orthodox Jews and the Jews of the Old Testament, basically. It teaches certain things about God, and what has happened is we don't so much reject the Torah. In fact, Christians accept the Torah. We reject all of the commentaries and extra bits that were added on by the Pharisees and other people throughout the ages. So that's why we would reject some of that material. It's not consistent with what the Old Testament actually says. So what happens is, as you are trying to interpret a document, you have to take, what did the document say? What did the document teach? What was the original intent of the document? It's not like the Reconstructionist mindset where I can just make it teach whatever I want it to teach. That's not how this works. And so as we talk about this idea of why do we reject like Torah only, or Talmud and all that, well, because it's not consistent with the original meaning. God has revealed certain things, and they came along and changed some of the meaning with their traditions. That's a point Jesus will make in the New Testament, where he will say, you have nullified, my law with your traditions, because that's basically what happens. And so a lot of that is rabbinic teaching. It's rabbis over the years, and they don't even agree with each other. There was a debate back and forth between the rabbis. And so, again, we don't reject the Torah, we reject the traditions that were added on to the Torah. The reason we would reject the Quran says that it gets its authority from the Bible. So as you study out the Quran, Acts 17 Apologetics is going to be a really good channel for you to go look at if you want really, really in-depth stuff on the Quran and the Hadith and all of that. I've read through about a third of the Hadith, Sahih al-Bukhari. Haven't read Sahih Muslim yet. I'll get to it when I'm done with Sahih al-Bukhari. But as you study out Islam, you have to tie in the Hadith. And so as you study those documents, they do not line up with the Bible, but they claim to. And so that's a big issue where, again, I'm not here trying to prove anything. I'm simply trying to tell you what Christians believe, and I'm trying to show you why what people say we believe doesn't always match up with what we actually believe. That's been my whole study here with the Ken Ham, the Bill Nye videos. Bill Nye says creationists believe certain things, but he's just wrong. It's not what creationists actually believe. So there's a whole other field of study, so to speak, that would deal with the proofs and the evidences and all that. And evidences and proofs come up. But again, there's more to it that's not been my purpose so far. Okay? Again, as far as the Bhagavad Gita and some of those other ones, I have not studied those as in-depth. But again, either one of them has to be true or none of them are true. But they can't, you can't have more than one of them be true because they have completely different takes on how the world works. And so what I see a lot of atheists and other people do is they just lump Christianity in with every other religion, and they don't bother to separate the fact that there are a lot of religions like Mormonism and Islam that are actually offshoots of Christianity in a way. And so if you can disprove Christianity, then you can take those out in the process. But taking those out does not nullify Christianity. As I said, this is a very broad overview. There's no way to do a complete rebuttal of those points in a short video. But I just want you to understand that as you study Islam, as you study the Jewish teachings and all of that, they are very intimately tied in with Christianity. And again, Jesus existed. We can prove that fairly substantially throughout history. God exists. We can prove that one through history, through miracles, through some logic. We can use it through, more deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. And so that's just something I've seen a bit. The Bible has been a book that has been accepted for centuries, if not millennia. You've had some of the smartest people imaginable who've gone back and forth on it. And so there are plenty of people throughout history who are going to believe that it's true and it contains the truth. And they have put it to the test and they've shown, yeah, this is consistent internally and externally. you have to look and say, does this book that I'm looking at take itself seriously enough to claim that it is the truth and exclusive truth? Because a book like the Quran is going to claim that it is exclusively true. It is going to reference for its authority the Bible. The Torah is going to reference God's existence as an authority. And so you've got various books like that are going to do that, but there are going to be various religious texts that are more accepting of change and more accepting of differences. And so I think you've got to take some of that into consideration. Were they ever accepted as exclusive truth? Or was there more of a figurative thing? Was it more of a, well, this was just for entertainment? And the Bible was never for just entertainment. So again, like I said, that's just kind of how I would explain some of this. There is a depth we have to go to explain it satisfactorily. But again, if you're not someone who is prone to even want to hear it, you're not going to hear any points that I make. Again, the Kalam cosmological argument is a fairly convincing logical proof if you want proof. But again, I've heard atheists who didn't understand it mock it. But again, I don't use the Kalam cosmological argument because the amount of work it takes to explain it so that you can actually sink that in and make it work, people just don't listen. Some do, but most of the people I talk to wouldn't listen to that. And so again, I go toward the evidence, evidence from design, evidence from order, evidence of very specified complexity that seems to point to a designer. And again, I think ultimately it's going to come down to faith. So if you don't have faith and you don't want to have faith and you don't want to listen, you're not going to listen, at least yet. I reference a guy like C.S. Lewis who was an atheist, and he was like, God hunted me down and convinced me of the truth. And so I think there's something to be said there, that maybe you're in a spot where you're just not wanting to hear it, and you might be in a spot later. I don't know. But there have been plenty of extremely intelligent people who've fallen down on either side. And I can't help but think that a lot of the people in YouTube comments are more of the scoffing trolls than serious inquirers. And that's kind of where I stand on it. I'll still answer questions and I want to hear it, but I found a lot of dialogue back and forth in a comment section is less than helpful because people don't want to hear it. And so that's where I would go with it. Guys, thanks for watching the Janus Project. And if you have questions, if they're constructive, please let me know in the comments, and I will try to respond. I may even record another video explaining some of these things.